Welcome back everybody to another video on the channel. Today we're going to be doing our second mock draft of the season. Draft is quickly approaching and I'm very excited to put out some more of these mock draft videos, see where each of the players are going, and see how everything's changed since I last uploaded my mock draft about 2 weeks ago. And just get right into it at number 1 with the Tennessee Titans. And the pick simply remains the same, no question about it. It's going to be Cam Ward. As I did in my first mock, nothing's changed. They've stopped their workouts with other quarterbacks, even with working out Travis Hunter. Cam Ward has solidified himself as the number 1 overall pick, and he deserves it. Coming out of school, he was a 0-star recruit, went to Incarnate Ward, transferred to Washington State, and then played his final season at Miami. I think he's an awesome quarterback, and I'm excited to see what he can do for the franchise. I don't think he's a massive difference maker. I don't think he's like a Trevor Lawrence, Caleb Williams-esque generational type quarterback, but at the same time, I would love to see what he can do for the Titans. And then we get to number 2. The new favorite pick for this is, I was going to do a mock where I was going to pick Shedeur Sanders here, but the new favorite is becoming Travis Hunter to play either corner or wide receiver, apparently leaning more towards playing wide receiver, right there for the Browns, and I feel like he's a great pickup. He's my second best player in the entire class. Abdul Carter's number 1. So if you want to pair 2 edge rushers in Myles Garrett and Abdul Carter, then you go Abdul Carter there at 2. But it looks like the Browns are actually leaning more towards Travis Hunter, so we'll pick him there. Then we get to the third pick, the New York Giants, and I'm selecting Abdul Carter for them. They may have Kayvon Thibodeau, but he is not a generational prospect like Abdul Carter is. He's absolutely amazing. Watching him at Penn State was such a treat. It was so awesome to see him. And he's going at number 3 to the New York Giants. They maybe get a quarterback later in the draft, we'll have to see. Or maybe they just wait until next year where the quarterback class is a lot deeper. And yeah, then we get to the Patriots. And the pick for the Patriots is just going to stay the same for me. It's been Will Campbell. Mock draft in and out. I feel like you just need to go and get that big brick wall tackle to solidify himself in front of Drake May. And then after that, you have Stephon Diggs to throw to. A wide receiver core that's not the worst at this point, adding in Diggs. So, and then you go and get Will Campbell. He's going to solidify that offensive line. He'll be so nice in New England, I feel like. And him and Drake May would be a good pairing together as quarterback and tackle. Jaguars, this is the first one for me where it starts to be like, who did they pick here? But I think Mason Graham is just still going to go for me. You have that defensive interior that was one of the worst in the league last year. So getting Mason Graham, he is a top 5 player in this class, maybe even a top 3 player. He's absolutely phenomenal. And watching his tape at Michigan was another player who's just like a treat to watch. He is a game wrecker and he's going to be awesome. He'll be a franchise piece in Jacksonville easily, and he'll fit really well with Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker, or Josh Hines Allen and Trayvon Walker on that defensive line. I would love to see him in Jacksonville. I can imagine it now. We'll see how it goes as we still have about 15, 20 or so days until the draft, so things could change around definitely, but we're getting closer and closer to when these players will actually be picked. So hopefully our picks are somewhat aligned with where they go in the draft. We'll have to see when it actually happens, and no trades have been made yet, so every single team owns their first round pick still. We'll have to see what ends up happening. Then we get down here, and the question is, for me, do they pick Shedeur Sanders here? I do like him playing under Geno, but for this mock draft, I have a specific place where I'm thinking Shedeur Sanders will fall, and I feel like they just signed Geno to a nice contract. What's the point of getting, a quarterback that's going to sit for a year, maybe 2 years under Geno? Although I think he would be a great quarterback to sit under Geno Smith. I'm actually going to go, this is a tough one, but I'm going to go Genty. Genty has been going to the Raiders in most of my mocks. The last one that I did, he did go to the Bears, but I have a different player that I'm thinking about for the Chicago Bears. And this has just been the pick. Mock in and mock out. Armand Membu, there he goes right there, and he's a perfect fit for the Jets. They solidify their offensive line a little bit better. Not much to say. Membu's one of the best tackles in the class, so I think he fits really well on the Jets. And then Carolina, this is a pick that has been spiraling. Do they go and pick a player like Jalon Walker to improve that linebacker room? Do they pick a player like Malachi Starks if they want to help the DBs out and get a better safety? But for me, it's going to be Ted McMillan. I think about that wide receiver room. And like last year, they had some potential, Adam Thielen, Deontay Johnson. I thought he would actually do something. He ends up going through multiple teams, the Ravens and the Texans, and there was talk about him being kind of a toxic environment in the locker room. Now this season, you have Adam Thielen, Jonathan Mingo, Terrace Marshall Jr., and that is a horrible wide receiver core. I love Thielen, and I feel like he can definitely carry the load, but they need somebody else in that room. Tet could either prove himself as a somewhat wide receiver 2, or he could go out of his way and be like the X receiver on the team, like a Mike Evans type guy. But time will only tell with a player like Ted McMillan. But I feel like incorporate him into Carolina will fit really well there, and could be a Drake London type player for the Panthers in the future. And especially if Bryce Young takes a step up next year, would love to see how he would fit in Carolina. Then we get to the New Orleans Saints, and this is a pick where I've struggled a lot in the past, but recently I've been thinking this is actually a decent pick. Shedeur Sanders going to New Orleans. It's just such a New Orleans pick as well. Like they're not the best when it comes to the draft, but I do like Shedeur going down there, throwing the ball to Chris Olave. You got Alvin Kamara in the backfield. You actually have a proper quarterback to play. Last year they went through Spencer Rattler, Derek Carr, just an absolute mess. At least you have somebody who can learn under Derek Carr, and Shedeur Sanders almost reminds me of a Derek Carr type quarterback as well. So I feel like the fit is kind of there. He's a Derek Carr, Tua Tagovailoa type game manager quarterback who's, his ceiling's pretty nice. Like he could be something, but I feel like if you're gonna sit behind somebody, a Derek Carr, a Tua, a Geno Smith, those are perfect for Shedeur Sanders. He's going to the Saints there at number 9. At least where everything falls now. I could see him going here. I could see him going to the Raiders, Giants, or even the Browns at 2. But I feel like this is the way the draft board will end up falling. Then gets to the Bears, and the Bears, I've gone through a lot of picks in these. Do you want to help out Caleb Williams? Do you want to go get a wide receiver? No, I don't think so. You have you have Rome, and you have Keenan Allen's a free agent, and then you have DJ Moore, of course. So I'm questioning, and I'm like, DeAndre Swift is not the answer. Do they end up going running back? Do they end up going defensive line? Kenneth Grant's here, kind of early to pick him. Do you go linebacker? I don't really think your linebacker core. They have Tremaine Edmonds and TJ Edwards. I don't think they need to do that. So I'm going to go Marion Hampton. And if you watch my top 10 running backs video, he is a dude that I see so many shades of Joe Mixon. He's like a do-it-all running back, and it's going to be like a Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs type thing in the draft where you got Ashton Genty going here at 6, and then you're going to have Hampton going early. People are going to say, why did you pick a running back at 10? Just look to Saquon Barkley's previous season and look how amazing he did. Like, running backs are slowly increasing in how much you value them. He received a big contract after that. Running backs are so important. Look at Derrick Henry last year, Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan, like, so many of these running backs are so important. Chicago needs to go and get their own one, and DeAndre Swift is not it. But Marion Hampton is awesome, and I think he fits very nicely with the Bears. Down here we get to the San Francisco 49ers. And they actually have Jahad Campbell here, and I like that as a pick for them. Saying they need guard tackle. See, I'm not going to go tackle for them. Tackle's not a bad idea, like Josh Simmons I could see fitting, or Jalon Walker here. And Jalon Walker, I don't know why he's valued so low. He's better than Jahad Campbell to me, but I think Campbell's a better pick for the 49ers. I think he just fits better on that team. He's a good scheme fit. And the way that they play linebacker, Jahad Campbell fits that better. He's like an old school linebacker in a new school linebacker's body. Like the way that he plays is very interesting to watch. I think he fits well in San Fran. As they look to rebuild that defense that was absolutely demolished in the offseason. And then we get to the Cowboys, and in my previous mock, they would have hoped that a player like Hampton fell so they could grab running back. Instead, I'm going to have Matthew Golden going there. You get a proper wide receiver 2 to pair with CeeDee Lamb, and I feel like that's really nice to have. And there's not too much more explaining to do. Matthew Golden has gone up for me a lot. I could even see the Cowboys trading back and then picking him later. He's been really nice to watch. He's one of those top wide receivers in this class. I pick him here as my second wide receiver to go, but I could see Luther Burden going there as well. I could see Emeka Egbuka going to Dallas. Could be a couple of options, so I'm just going to pick him for there. Get to the Dolphins here at pick 13. A player like Will Johnson is really nice to go there, but I'm going to go with Jahdae Barron. I just continue, just like my first mock, I continue to see him being that perfect fit in Miami, and they get good value there. Pick 13. Jahdae Barron could go even higher. He's like a Swiss Army knife at corner, so having him there, that's a pretty good pick for the Dolphins. I can see Malachi Starks going there, a couple of players. Will Johnson would be a good fit as well, but we'll have to see who they end up going with. And then this is just going to be the same pick that it's been. It's going to be Tyler Warren for me. Tyler Warren at Penn State. Not much else to say besides he was absolutely amazing. Probably one of the best tight ends in Penn State history. And he can literally line up and play quarterback for you if you want. So if Anthony Richardson needs to take a break, like he had to do last season, you can maybe throw Tyler Warren in there for a snap. Love Tyler Warren. They need a proper tight end. Mo Alley-Cox is not it, even though Mo Alley-Cox is most definitely better than Austin Hooper. Absolutely no debate there. But you need like a really good tight end, and I think Tyler Warren is almost generational in the amount of impact that he'll have on the team, and getting another weapon for Richardson to throw to as well, something that's really good. So that is who my pick is at 14. I'm going to switch it up for the Atlanta Falcons. A lot of the time I've been going James Pierce Jr. down here, but I don't think I'm going to go with him this time. I think right here I'm going to pick Jalon Walker. I can't name a player on their linebacking crew. Like, I can't even name a single player. And just bolstering up that defense in general for Atlanta is probably good to do. You can go and get James Pierce Jr., and I really like him to them as well. But for me, Jalon Walker, he shouldn't go past pick number 15. He's a top 10 player in this class, no doubt about it. He's going to go to Atlanta there at 15. And then one of my absolute favorite picks in this entire draft is Will Johnson going to Arizona. It's what I've continued to want to see happen. They go, and Will Johnson is he's like that elite corner that they need on the team. And no more Byron Murphy Jr. He's in Minnesota now. He gets a nice contract. And I can't even think Marco Wilson is in their cornerback room. They do have Garrett Williams, who they picked out of Syracuse a couple years ago, and he's pretty nice. He's shown that he can play a little bit, but Will Johnson's going to be an elite corner for you, and the fact that he falls down here at pick 16, it's perfect for them to pick him up. This is a pick that I've continued to question for a minute, and there's no more linebackers really to pick for the Bengals here. You could go through and you could defensive interior. Okay, I could see. It'd be interesting if they went a player like Kenneth Grant here, because I don't see him falling out of the first round. But Mike Green has still been like a dream pick for me going to the Bengals. Like, I feel like that's perfect. But for this one, I may end up switching it up, because I don't want to stick to everything we did in the last one. So I'm actually going to pick Kenneth Grant. I feel like he will fit nicely there, and ever since they lost DJ Reader, that position's been kind of like a mixed bag. could be the first really great defensive lineman on that team since maybe Geno Atkins. I'm not saying he's going to be Geno Atkins, but I'm saying he could be a franchise piece on that team. Give Kenneth Grant a year or so to develop a little bit more, and I could see him being nice in Cincinnati. Get down here. And for the Seahawks, do I go my classic pick of Colston Loveland, or do I go with an edge player? Mike Green's still just sitting here. I'm going to go with Mike Green. He's also a really nice pick to Seattle, and I think they would celebrate if he got past Cincinnati. I think they could even trade up for him. He would be a nice edge piece for them, really. And in an edge room that's like, who do you have, like Derek Hall and stuff in there? It's not bad, but Mike Green will be an upgrade to whatever they have. And then down here, no more linebackers really available. If not, I would have had Tampa Bay take a Jalon Walker. He's not falling past pick 20. But for this, some DBs available. And I don't really know because this is the first time I'm going through this, and I have a couple of thoughts where players should go, but this is really the first time I'm kind of going through and picking them all on video. So I'm just like, I don't really know who to go at each position, but I'm kind of thinking about it, and I think a player like James Pierce would fit very nicely on Tampa Bay. He has all the abilities in the world. He falls down to that pick, and I feel like Tampa Bay front office is happy for that as well. And I think he's a good fit there. Either edge or linebacker they got to take in the draft. I mean, Malachi Starks is still sitting here, but I don't really think they need safety. They have Antoine Winfield, and they have a couple of other guys that aren't too bad. So, and then gets down to the Broncos. I could see Omarion going to Chicago, Dallas, or down here at the Broncos spot. But with those running backs off the board, not wanting to reach for a Cam Scat, you definitely go running back later in the draft for the Broncos, but I'm going to grab Luther Burden's been my dream pick for them for a while, and I know he has the off-field issues, but having Cortland Sutton as a mentor on that team and Bo Nix throwing him the ball as an amazing deep threat as he is, I could see him shining in Denver, and he's just going to continue to be the pick there for me. So, and then we get to the Steelers, and do they go Jaxson Dart here? This is another Shedeur Sanders spot. I could see if he falls down. I don't know. I'm going to hold off on a quarterback for them in this draft, actually. I'm going to have them going Josh Simmons, tackle to bolster up that line. They went and got the Georgia tackle, what was it, last year? Or, you know, that was Cincinnati that got them, actually, Amarius Mims. But they've continued to build up this offensive line for a while, ever since going back and getting guard Isaac Seumalo, and then they've drafted some players, but the offensive line can continue to be improved. And I know you say right here, oh, they have no quarterback, but I'm like, you wait until a later round, you get a developmental Jalen Milroe or, you know, Will Howard even. Kyle McCord's not bad. Curtis Rourke's not bad. Tyler Shuck. Curtis Rourke, actually, no, he's not that good, but Tyler Shuck is actually pretty good. He's underrated. And this quarterback class has some potential. Jaxson Dart, I could see him going in the first round, but I don't know. I feel like you take him, whatever team takes him is a reach. I have one team that's going to end up taking him. I think he's a great fit, and he will have a great mentor on that team, but that team is not going to be the Steelers. He needs to, like, sit for a year, and that's why I'm not picking him there, because they're just going to throw him into the fire. I like the idea of them going out and just getting a tackle at first, and so that's why I picked Josh Simmons there. And then Los Angeles Chargers are going to go Mecca here. Just get another wide receiver to pair in that room. You already have Ladd McConkey. Quentin Johnston showed that he could play a little bit last year. You get a Mecca, and you actually start to talk about having a decent wide receiver core. And Justin Herbert, you know, maybe pushes that threshold this year, maybe makes it a little bit further in the playoffs, and we'll see what happens. It's a Packers pick. Some Michael Williams spot 100% for me. Just picking that developmental edge is a classic Packers move, and Michael Williams is better than ones in the past. He's basically Trayvon Walker, but not as coveted as he was because of his length coming out. I really do like Michael Williams, and Packers either go him or maybe a wide receiver, but I feel like they want to see how that wide receiver room continues to develop. I'm going to go Michael Williams there. And then Vikings. This was originally a Kenneth Grant spot for me, but now it's going to be a Malachi Starks spot because I don't see him going any further. You get 2 straight Ohio State players here, and then 2 straight Georgia players. I love Malachi Starks is another, just like Luther Burden and Will Johnson, even Genty down here to the Raiders. Like perfect fits. I feel like fits the scheme, fits the culture of the team. All I've heard is great things about Malachi Starks as a human being, as a player, and he is one of the most versatile safeties I've watched in maybe the past few years. I personally compare him to a player like Javon Holland. He's really fun to watch, and I feel like he would fit really nice on Minnesota. And then the pick here for me is going to be the pick that it's continued to be, Kelvin Banks. And one of the people who commented on my original mock was like, I love Kelvin Banks to the Texans, and I'm right there with you. Kelvin Banks to the Texans is like dream pick. Then you get a replacement for Laramie Tunsil, and that's all they want at the end of the day, a replacement for him. So I feel like that's perfect and sets a new culture that's starting in Houston, I guess, unless, I don't know, they brought CJ Gardner-Johnson over. So we'll see what they want to do with that pick, but Kelvin Banks is the pick there. And then this is actually going to be my Jaxson Dart landing spot. And over time, I've developed this opinion where I'm like, Jaxson Dart fitting on the Rams is nice. Obviously, they could go out and get defense, but I think Jaxson Dart is like a perfect fit to learn and be mentored by a quarterback like Matthew Stafford. It just fits really well, and you have to get somebody that's going to be like that heir apparent when Stafford retires. And I feel like Dart sitting for a year, watching them maybe go to the playoffs again, just being there as that backup, getting maybe minimal play in his first year, watching Stafford, he's going to be awesome, and I think he just fits so well there, and that's why I'm going to pick him there. Throw him into the fire on a team like the Steelers, and you don't really know what you're getting. Give him a chance on a team like the Rams, and I could see him turning into something nice. And then we get down here, and I have a pick. It's just going to be Shedeur Stewart. We're going to keep it simple for the Ravens, just get a nice edge player for them, and then go to the Lions. There's a couple of picks here. Linebacker, or I'm trying to think. Nick Scourton, back-to-back Texas A&M edges would be a nice storyline. And Scourton, he's pretty good, but I think Donovan Izaraku fits that culture as well in Detroit, and I feel like he's the best player possible on the board, outside of maybe Colston Loveland, but they're not going for tight end. So I would pick him right there. And then one of my sleeper picks has been Siobhan Rebel, and I think he fits really nicely on a team like the Commanders, who need corner help. Marshawn Lattimore didn't really prove himself that much last season, got kind of burnt. And he can learn under Marshawn Lattimore, and I feel like that's perfect, honestly. And then you get to the Buffalo Bills. And this is a tough pick as well. I think they're just going to go Nick Scourton here. I feel like that's a decent pick. And then you get both of those Texas A&M edges off the board. Both of them are very talented, and they get an edge to pair with Joey Bosa, who's now in Buffalo. That's really fun. Right here, I'm just going to go Gray Sable. He fits on a team like the Chiefs, and they kind of need some offensive line help after Mahomes got decimated in the Super Bowl by the Super Bowl champ Philadelphia Eagles, who pick at number 32 here. And who we're going to pick? Tough pick here. If you want to get the heir apparent to Dallas Goedert, Colston Loveland just sitting here is amazing. You could get Kevin Winston. It's actually a tough pick. You could go and get a player like Tyler Booker if you want to improve that. Offensive line. Kind of a tough pick here for the Eagles. But I'm gonna... I think I'm actually going to pick Benjamin Morrison here. Cornerback room got kind of destroyed in the offseason. Lost James Bradbury, Darius Slay, and Isaiah Rodgers. You now have Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell. You put Benjamin Morrison in that room, another young guy who has like a lot of upside, and you don't need him to play right away either. You could kind of let a couple of the younger guys like Keely Ringo and such play. Okay. You could let those guys end up playing and then see what happens and just kind of give him some time. And there we go. Here's our finalized mock draft. But yeah, you let those guys play. You let a player like Benjamin Morrison sit for a little bit. I liked him as like a top 5 pick beginning of last year when we were doing way too early mock drafts. I really loved him. So, and then just so excited for the for the NFL draft coming up soon. We have so many of these great players. We'll have to see what teams they go to. This is an all-time defensive class, and even the offense. Players like Burden, we'll have to see how they turn out. And yeah, that is it for my second mock draft of the season, the second one on the channel. I hope you all enjoyed, and if you did, feel free to hit the like button. And until next time, my next video is going to be a couple of sleeper players that I have for the NFL draft, for the 2025 draft. And I hope you all like it. It'll be coming out soon, probably do back-to-back uploads. And we got a new webcam, we got a couple of new videos coming out soon, and I'm very excited to continue making these videos on the channel. And like I said, if you all enjoyed, feel free to like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video.